What is going on of the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic? Anyways, today, as you guys can see, we have some Star Wars Battlefront gameplay. Sorry, I was having issues recording KOTOR. Anyways, let's get into this video. This is a new series I'm starting called KOTOR 3 Will It Happen? Or KOTOR 3 question mark. Anyways, for the first video of this series, we're going to be talking about who could design KOTOR 3, what are the chances of it happening, you know, stuff like that. That's basically what this series is going to be about. Anyways, I said anyways 15 times already. So this first episode, what we're going to talk about is why I think KOTOR 3 still can happen and why I think it is happening currently in development. In my mind, that's what I'm thinking. One, there's reasons behind to think obviously that it isn't in development. The biggest reason is most likely the fact that the game, you know, the second game came out in like 2005, 2004. 2, the first one came out in 2003, I believe. And 3, they launched an MMO back in 2011, and MMOs tend to take up a lot of space, and they've sort of messed with the storyline a lot. And when I say that, I mean, if there was a KOTOR 3, sadly, it would not be mainly focused on Revan, I believe, or the Jedi Exile. And the reasoning behind that is because of the recent expansion in the Old Republic, and because of the novel Shadows of Revan, I think it's called, or just the Revan novel, where it basically describes what did Revan do after and what happened to the Jedi Exile and all that stuff. And if you haven't, I would read the books. I'm not going to spoil anything for you. Great book. But by doing that, by making that book and by releasing that expansion, it totally ruined the chances of making the next KOTOR game, if there ever will be one, about that. And when I say that, I don't mean that it won't show in some ties from the Mandalorian Wars. I don't mean that it won't be set in the Old Republic. Obviously, it's Knights of the Old Republic. Or that it won't have anything to do with Revan. I still believe that it will be hardly and mainly focused on telling you side stories about Revan and how you have to, you know, try to be this great Jedi and stuff. But because of those two major factors, I don't believe that the next KOTOR, if there is one, will have anything to do with Revan as a main character, or the Exile. In case you didn't know, I don't want to spoil it for you, but you might not be able to understand my argument. The Exile actually died in the book. Other than that, you can read the book, you can play the expansion, find out everything for yourself. Now, let's go into some good facts, actually, some good things that we need to talk about for the possibilities of KOTOR 3. One, and this is probably a big one, Bioware or Obsidian. That's a big thing a lot of people like to talk about. Who made the better one? Obviously, in my opinion, Bioware made the better storytelling game, but I really do think Obsidian took that, and they do this a lot. They did it with New Vegas as well. They took that great game, that great story, the great atmosphere, and they added better gameplay elements, better leveling system, and a lot more new things, a lot more open areas. They didn't have enough time, and I think if they truly did have enough time, instead of a 1.5-year development cycle, which is the same thing that happened with New Vegas actually, they would have made a superb game to KOTOR 1. And I know I literally just made like 40 people go, oh, I can't believe you said that. But in all honesty, if you really play the game and look at every little detail from like a review perspective, you will understand what I'm saying. So, who would make a better KOTOR 3, Bioware or Obsidian? Obsidian has shown a lot of interest in making KOTOR 3. I mean, they flat out said we would love to make KOTOR 3. They've been saying forever now. They've been going to the LucasArts Studios back before it was bought out by Disney. They told them a bunch of times, yo, let's get this on the road. We want to make KOTOR 3. We want to make KOTOR 3. Can we make it, or is Bioware making it? They've told Disney a few times now that they've shown interest in it. They've told other Star Wars, you know, EA, that they've shown interest in it. We still don't have anything though. But with Pillars of Eternity's newly found success, they don't really have a game that they're working on at the moment. Besides, I think, the tank game, the tank MMO. I don't believe what it's called. They're not really working on anything. So this would be the perfect time for them to get that on their slate and just release and make a KOTOR 3, release it in 2 to 3 years. I think this is the perfect time for Obsidian to make it. But at the same time, you got to look at it from the perspective of Bioware. KOTOR is one of their babies, you know what I mean? And it sucks when a company has to give away their game so that they can get it finished because they don't have time to do it, which was the case for KOTOR 2. But I love the KOTOR 2 story as well, so I'm glad they did. Another thing I have to say about Bioware is recently the head Dragon Age writer, this was about literally a month ago, March 2nd or 3rd, I believe. His name is David Gator. He's been the head Dragon Age or Origins, Inquisition, and 2 writer since Dragon Age, the first one. And he was hired in 1999 to actually work for Baldur's Gate 2, but he ended up writing some of the main dialogue for Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. So this man does have a lot of experience with KOTOR, and that led him to making the new franchise of his series, Dragon Age. Obviously, it's not his series, but he did write the main story. He is the head writer. So what can we see from this? What can we get from this? Now that he's quitting, and he didn't quit Bioware, just so you know. He just said he's done with Dragon Age. It's in good hands, but he is working on a secret Bioware project. Now, we don't know. This could be the next Mass Effect 4, but I highly doubt it, because Mass Effect isn't really a secret. We know that there's a Mass Effect 4 already. We know all this information. They haven't told us too much, but we already know, so it's not really a big secret. And then there's been a lot of rumors since 2012, 2013-ish, that there was a Star Wars game in development by Bioware. So what else would it be? Some people think it's a sequel to the MMORPG Star Wars The Old Republic. Now, I'm here to tell you I don't agree with that. And the reason being is because MMOs last a lot longer than the average game. And the Old Republic just launched their second expansion, the Revan expansion, back in December, which was literally 3 months ago, 2 months ago, whatever it was. I don't feel like counting. But there's no way in hell that they're already planning on making another MMO. MMOs take time to make, people. These aren't just games that you pop out like any crappy little, game on indie store. No offense to indie developers, some of those are really good. So that's why I think that he might be working on Knights of the Old Republic 3. He might be writing the head story, but at the same time, you got to look at it from Obsidian side. Obsidian is free, and EA probably has noticed this, and they could say, hey, why don't we get them to do the game? Either way, it's a win-win situation. Now, I know I didn't give you too much real facts or anything like that, but this is just the first episode, and it's a pretty long one. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll have more KOTOR 3 news for you weekly, probably, and tomorrow we'll have the things we would like in Elder Scrolls 6 Episode 3. Thank you guys for watching. Check out my last video, which I believe was the locations of Elder Scrolls 6, which is doing pretty good. You guys are liking the Elder Scrolls videos. So thank you guys all, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.